other axiom. So the other axiom is the well-known inequality, that is less than, greater than, or this. So the first axiom we'll consider is this: for all x and y belongs to R, exactly one of the following must hold. That is, if you take two numbers in a real number, it's either x is less than y, or y is less than s, or they are even equal to each other. So this law is what we call law of trichotomy. So that is one. Another one, we have another one here: if a is less than b, and if you have another number c which belongs to R, then if you add that c to both sides, they will still be less than each other. The same thing is applicable to greater. That is, if a is greater than b, then a plus c will be greater than b plus c. All these are being taught at the elementary inequality level. So another one, this one says that if a is greater than 0 and also b is greater than 0, that is, if they say that a is greater than 0, that simply means positive. If they say that a is less than 0, that simply means negative. So that is, if a is positive and b is positive, then addition of two positive numbers will still be positive. That is the meaning. It's greater than 0. Also, multiplication will also be greater than 0. So let's consider the following propositions. Proposition 1: x is less than y if and only if x minus y is less than 0, and y, or let's say, or y minus s is greater than 0. So that simply means that if you have x is less than y, definitely this must happen, or this. And also, if this happens, x must be less than y. So let's prove it. So if x is less than y, I want to prove it. So this implies that x plus minus y is less than y plus minus y. So we have added minus y to both sides. So this will be x minus y will be less than, this one will give me 0. So this is additive identity that we just treated in our field axiom. So we have done this. Also, we can continue from it by saying that if we decide to add y minus s to both sides, to this side too, 0 plus y minus x, when we decide to add it, so we can rearrange by associative property, that is s plus minus s, and also minus y plus this y will be less than, this is 0 element, 0 plus this is still this. So s plus minus s will give me 0, this one will give me 0, is less than y minus s. You need to be stating the axioms. So this is y minus x. So you see that 0 is less than y minus s. This simply means that y minus s is greater than 0. So, and we have proved this. Another interesting one. So we have our proposition 2 here. If s is less than y, and also if you have that y is less than z, so the proposition says that s is less than z. If s is less than y and y is less than z, then s must be less than z. So this law is what we call transitive. You can say law of transitive or transitive law. So let's prove it. From s is less than y, by this proposition, if s is less than y, so definitely s minus y is less than 0. Also, from this list, if y is less than z, definitely y minus z must be less than 0. So let's add the equation 1 and 2. If you add the equation 1 and 2, you are going to have s minus y plus y minus z is less than 0. So this is gone. Minus y plus y is gone. What we have left is s minus z is less than 0. And by this proposition, it says that this proposition 1, it says that if s is less than y, definitely s minus y is less than. Since we write if and only if, that simply means that even if you also have s is less than y, s minus y is less than 0, it should imply s is less than y. So that means this one will imply s is less than z, and that completes our proof. So other axiom order as far as the other ones that requires proof, you need to go and learn how to go and prove them as exercise. If a is less than b, then 1 over a must be greater than 1 over b. That is, if you take reciprocal of both sides, the sign will change. Also, if you put negative to both sides, if you multiply both sides by negative, that is minus a times minus b. So the sign will change to opposite, which is greater. If a is less than b, then a square will always be less than b square. The sign does not change upon putting square or square root. Also, if a is less than b, then a over 1 plus a will be less than b over 1 plus b. Also, a over b plus c will be less than a over any of these two. Either a over b or a over c. That is it. It's less than a over b, or we say that it's less than a over c. So you can go and prove this. So let's move to another interesting one, which is related to other axiom, and that is absolute value. So it's what we are familiar with. You see that absolute value of 3 is 3, or we call it, at times we call it modulus, or we call it magnitude. So let's give the formal definition here in real analysis. So we have the definition here. Let a be any real number. Absolute value of a, which is denoted by this is the sign, is defined as this. Absolute value of a will be equal to a if a is greater than or equal to 0. And absolute value of a will also be minus a if a is less than 0. So that's the definition. So that simply means that absolute value of 3 will be equal to 3. Then absolute value of 2 will be equal to minus 2. Because of this, our a is minus 2 and we have minus, which should give me 2. So that simply means absolute value of 3 is 3. Absolute value of minus 2 is 2. So also absolute value of 0 is 0. When they talk of absolute value simply means non-negative value. Also, we can say that it's a distance between point A and the origin. So that is and we know that for every distance, it is always positive. So that is for absolute value. So we now have some properties of absolute values that we need to prove, because they are related to the inequalities. The properties of absolute value, we consider the following theorems for the properties. Number 1, for any a belongs to real number r, for any x there belongs to real number r, minus absolute value of s is less than this. So let's prove it. So for the proof, we consider two cases. Case 1, we consider when s is less than 0 because of these two. Let's first consider case when s is less than 0. So if s is less than 0, we have said here that if a is less than 0, then absolute value of a is minus a. So that means that if s is less than 0, this will mean that absolute value of s will be equal to minus s. That is by definition. So by our definition, absolute value of s will be equal to minus s. And we know that minus s will also be less than 0. So that simply means that minus absolute value of s will be equal to this x, and s is less than 0 again. We know that if you transfer this term to this side, because it has been said here that, in fact, let me clean this first. But it has been said here that s is less than 0. So minus absolute value of s is less than this. Also, we know that absolute value of s will be greater than or equal to 0, as we have said in our definition, that absolute value of a is non-negative. That is, it will be greater than, because you can see our answer here, 3 or 2. So in that case, that simply means that 0 is less than or equal to absolute value of x. So if you now merge it together, we are going to have minus absolute value of s will be less than or equal to x. You know our s is less than 0, and our 0 will be less than absolute value of s. So if you merge them together, so that should give me absolute value of is less than or equal to x, and s is less than or equal to absolute value of s. So this completes the proof. That's our case 1. Case 2. Let's consider a case whereby s is greater than 0. Considering this case, a is greater than or equal to 0. I'll change it to s here. So by that definition, absolute value of s will be, it will be equal to x, because absolute value of a will be equal to a. So by that definition, and also absolute value of absolute value of s, we know that it's always greater than 0. So let's keep that. By our other relation, this one, which says that if you multiply both sides of an inequality by negative, the sign changes. So in that case, let's apply it here. This simply means that minus, if I multiply both sides by minus, it will turn to less than or equal to 0. So that is when I put absolute value there. Also, we know that here 0 is less than, s is greater than or equal to 0. From s is greater than or equal to 0, this will mean that 0 is less than or equal to x. And by definition, s will also be less than or equal to this. By definition, s is less than or equal to this. Or don't let me merge it together like that. Now let's merge. What we are merging together is this one, and this. So from this place, I will say that minus absolute value of s is less than or equal to 0. 0 here is less than or equal to x. Here s is equal to this, which means it's less than or equal to absolute value of x. So which at the end of the day, I can merge it to be this. I can remove the 0 and write it like this. So this completes the proof. So we have shown that for any number, minus absolute value of the number is less than the equal to the number is less than equal to the absolute value. So let's take note of that. Another property. We have another theorem here. If absolute value of s is less than a, then minus a is less than s is less than a. So this is another interesting aspect of the absolute value, which we may likely have come across. Now let's prove it. Since absolute value of s is less than a, and it also works for less than or equal to. Let me generalize it. So since absolute value of s is less than or equal to a, so that will simply show that minus s is less than or equal to, is greater than or equal to minus a. Because I've said when we multiply both sides by negative, the sign will change, and that will give me minus a is less than or equal to minus absolute value of x. But by definition, by our theorem 1, we recall from our theorem 1 that minus this is less than this is less than this. Now, if you now apply it, here we have said that minus absolute value of s is less than or equal to a. So this implies that this one will be less than or equal to minus a, greater than or equal to minus, so minus a is there, is less than s, is less than absolute value of x. Here we have said is less than a, equal to a. So we have shown it. So that simply means that what we have seen here is that when we have this type of relationship, then we can write it like this: minus a is less than s is less than this. Also, if it is minus a is less than a is less than this, we can write it in absolute value like this. So we normally use this to solve inequality. For instance, when I'm asked to solve s minus 3 is less than 5. To solve this, I'll just say minus 5 is less than this is less than 5. And that simply means I can add plus 3 to both sides. So that will be minus 2 is less than s is less than 8, which gives the solution to this inequality. So the same thing goes to the greater than. So the theorem says if a is greater than or equal to a, then minus a is greater than s, or s is greater than a. So the proof is left as a size. Now let's consider another theorem, another important theorem which normally exists in mathematics. If ab belongs to a real number, the absolute value of a plus b will be less than or equal to absolute value of a plus absolute value of b. So we normally call this theorem a triangular inequality. So that is the name of the theorem. So, and it's very useful because we are going to be using it in many of our problems. Now let's prove it. Now if I want to prove it now, let's recall from theorem 1. So from theorem 1, we say that absolute value of minus absolute value of a is less than or equal to a, is less than or equal to absolute value of a. So the same thing applies to b. So that means I can write it like this too. Now let's add the two together. So let's add the two together. These two relationship. If you add it, this one will become minus into absolute value of a plus absolute value of b is less than or equal to, this one will be a plus b. This one will give me absolute value of a plus absolute value of b. Now by this theorem here, by our theorem 2, which says if you have this type of relation, minus a minus something is less than or equal to the same thing, and this is in the middle. So the answer will be absolute value of the middle is less than or equal to this thing. So you can see that I have the same thing here, and there's minus here, there's plus here. So this will just implies absolute value of a plus b is less than or equal to absolute value of a plus absolute value of b. So this is a proof of triangular inequality. So from this place, let's get a corollary here. Let's consider the corollary. So we recall this is a corollary. So we are going to recall from the triangular inequality that this is less than or equal to this. So let us replace. So let us put A to be equal to P minus B. P minus B is another real number. So this will be P minus B plus B. This will be P minus B plus B is less than or equal to, this one will give me P minus B plus B. So this one will give me P is less than or equal to P minus B plus B. So collect the like terms will give me this minus this is less than this. Or we can see that P minus B is greater than or equal to P minus PB. So this is another important result when it comes to inequality. That is, absolute value of P minus B is greater than or equal to absolute value of P minus absolute value of B. Now, we can generalize it and quickly say that, generally we can say that A minus B is greater than or equal to absolute value of A minus absolute value of B. So let me call it equation 1. Now let's keep it. This equation, we can simply write it as A minus B is less than or equal to absolute value of A minus B. Let's call it equation 2. So it's just from this place. Now, this absolute value of B, A minus B, we can still write it as B minus A. And by what we have here is same thing as absolute value of B minus absolute value of A. Which simply means that absolute value of A minus B is simply the same thing as minus into A minus B. I've just put this to the first position there, and this second. So it's same thing as this. Now, this thing that we wrote here, if I multiply both sides by minus, I'm going to have this minus A minus B is less than, the minus will turn this greater to less, A minus absolute value of A minus absolute value of B. And by our equation 2, we said that absolute value of A minus absolute value of is less than this. It's less than or equal to absolute value of A minus B. So from this place, we recall that if we have minus A is less than S, is less than A, that simply means S is less than A. So our A is representing the whole of this, and our S is representing the whole of this. If we apply that theorem, we are going to have absolute value of these two is less than or equal to, this is our A, absolute value of A minus B. And that proves the corollary here. So let's move to another interesting one in our next video. So have a good day.